welcome. Come on in here, TikTok family. Come on in here, YouTube family. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Yes, we're still on the ancestors again. See, I had to break this all down for y'all because we start breaking all this down. You be like, yeah, it's a lot. I didn't see that. We're gonna talk about affinity ancestors. Welcome, TikTok family. Welcome, YouTube family. Again, we're going to be talking about affinity ancestors. Does anyone know what affinity ancestors are? What are affinity ancestors? Anyone knows? They do it all the time in America. They do it all the time in America. When they have President's Day, when they make these statues of these uh colonizers, that's the best way I can put it, y'all. The best I'm gonna do here. That's all I can find right now. When they have these statues of these colonizers there again, they are venerating their affinity ancestors that set up that government there. Okay, that's what they doing. That's affinity ancestors. They doing it all the time. You'll see a little bit up there when they name different streets after different people. Again, affinity ancestors. We had a guy like that in our neighborhood. He was an older black guy in our community, and everyone went to him for any type of paperwork. He was a notary, and so we went to him for like everything. I mean, I think we went kind of beyond notary because he was a really smart black man in our community, and they named a whole street out after him. I forgot his name. I can't even remember his name, but they named a street after him because he did so much stuff in that community. Again, he became an affinity ancestor to us in our community. Okay. All black people in that community went to him for everything because he was so smart. He was damn near like an attorney because he knew so much stuff. And so when he passed away, they named that whole street after gave him that whole street that he lived on. They named him. I mean, they put his name up there. Those are affinity ancestors. And then you have Martin Luther King. You see a Martin Luther King street everywhere you go. Again, what do they do? What they're doing right there? That was our affinity ancestors. He's an affinity ancestor. Yes, yes, yes. That these are when you start looking at our culture and start looking at how um ancestral veneration in hoodoo, it starts to make more sense why it's closed. Okay, start to make more sense. So we're gonna dive into affinity ancestors. You think blood, you think um your blood ancestors are your only ancestors. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You got ancestors, like I said, like Marie Laveau. Um, these are archetypes that are in our conscious, collective consciousness that we can contact. Thank you for sharing the blueprint. Okay, so they're already in our collective conscious, so it'll be very easy because our parents revered them. Okay, some of our parents was listening to what they had to say. They had a significant impact in our lineages in that generation. So yeah, you have access to them and to work with them. You see it all the time. You see people doing it all the time. I've heard many celebrities channel other celebrities that they, vibe with, and they would channel that spirit into their work. I've heard many celebrities say that. When they go in and they are looking at a character, look at Denzel Washington when he played Malcolm X. He channeled him. He was actually in contact with Malcolm X. This is what's going on. You think you watching a movie, but these people be sometimes these spirits be inhabiting these people when they channel. What you think acting is? They have to get to know that whole person's consciousness, their behavior, their demeanor. Look how Jamie Foxx played Ray Charles. He played that to a T. What was he doing? He was channeling that man's spirit. Them voodoo ceremonies and things are all about. Same thing you doing up in there. You channeling. You're acting it out. When they say, when the Orisha manifests in people, they have certain things that they do, behaviors and things where they can tell that that's ancestors working through them. Why? Because they're channeling them. They're coming through the DNA. It's easier when they come through your DNA. You can see because he played that role so perfectly. And they said some of the stuff that man did in there. Listen, go back and listen to his interview when he's talking about how he played played that. That man he was channeling him. He was actually in contact with Malcolm X. Okay, start acting like him, read everything about him, learned his life. They go into very deep when they do these movies. When I tell you, they go very deeply and do a lot of research before they make a movie. Don't think they don't know. They absolutely know. You just heard Taraji P. Henson talking about her chakras be all open when she playing them characters. She ain't lying. Okay, that woman is not lying to you. That's what's going on there. When you're acting, you're channeling. You're channeling that character. That character becomes real. Does that make sense to you? I hope I haven't lost any of you. That's what's going on there. So yeah, we have the ability to do that. Looking at again, these are affinity ancestors. Prince, Michael Jackson, Dr. Buzzard, all are affinity ancestors of artistic mastery and metaphysical creativity, demonstrating how music, dance, and performance can channel divine intelligences. Okay? These figures are not abstract icons. They are living energies in the spiritual realm who continue to guide, protect, and inspire those who vibrate on their frequency. When we call on them in prayer, in meditation, or ritual, we are reconnecting to a spiritual lineage of excellence, liberation, and creation they represent. Just like this Hoodoo Heritage Month, what are we doing? We are honoring affinity ancestors. We are honoring the practice. And they feel that. They see that. Long as they live in our consciousness, in our memory, and recall, the easier it is to access them. Okay. And so you might have them pulling up on you, or you might be have to reach out to them. Okay, so the ancestry to the physical realm is not limited. It's cosmic, multidimensional. This is especially vital for those whose biological lineage has been disrupted by slavery, colonization, migration, or trauma. So these are the other alternatives that you have. You got, you know, got a dysfunctional family. It's just toe up in there. You can't do nothing with it, and you trying to heal yourself. Then you have other ancestors that will take you in, or if there's an ancestors that you are interested in and you think you can learn something from, or something like that, and you want to learn more about them, that you can start channeling them. Yeah, that goes down over here. It's ancestral. Okay, we have uncanonized ancestors. That's important for us to remember in our culture as well. Malcolm X should have been canonized. Martin Luther King should have been probably canonized. So we go on and on with the people that probably Sada Shakur should have been canonized. They should have been canonized because they had a significant impact on our culture in protecting us, in guiding us, in bringing us truth, in freedom, in liberation. Okay. So again, these are affinity ancestors, and the more you learn about them, and you find yourself attracted to one, and you're attracted to their life, and you like what they do, and you inspired by them, that most likely you were in channeling that ancestors. Okay, they're probably working with you in some form or another. Okay, so even if your records are lost, you don't know your ancestors. Again, you still have these affinity ancestors. They fill those ancestral gaps. But when you see with most of these, depending on which one you work with, most of you gonna have to be a certain kind of way for they start messing with you. They're gonna have to see that you for real. Okay. So you're never spiritually alone. You might feel like that in the physical realm, but you got ancestors, affinity ancestors that is watching you, maybe have adopted you. Maybe you're attracted to some of them. Maybe you got your favorite ancestor in history that you're attracted to. Maybe that's one of your guides. Yeah, very, very possible. Hi, Black Magic Mike. Hello, welcome YouTube family. Welcome TikTok family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're talking about affinity ancestors. And so, too, we learn more and more about. That's why we have Black History Month. That's why we have Hoodoo Black Heritage Month, because we try to learn as much as we can about our ancestors, their spiritual practices. Because again, a lot of them was not canonized. They were not canonized. We got saints in our community that were not canonized, especially when we start looking at root workers and spiritual practitioners and conjure folks. Some of them folks should have been a saint. They should have been a saint. They should have been canonized as a saint. That's what should have happened. But now we have to have these sort of days, make days for them and things like that. Okay. Now, if you want to communicate with them, and you can, because they're doing it in America, they're doing it already. But them folks ain't your ancestors. They're doing it right in front of your face already. But if you want to again have a dialogue with them, it requires devotion, really setting your intentions. Over here in Hoodoo, the way we do conjure or we work with spirits is totally different from the Western um, perspective. We don't even approach working with a spirit the way other people do. It might just be their picture in a glass of water that you put out. You set a little space, picture in a glass of water. You might say their speech, practice their speech, or start watching all their movies, or start acting like them. Okay, just start channeling them, learning everything about them. That's how you get to know a spirit, what they like, what they didn't like, watching all their interviews. This is how you channel. I mean, and again, it's already in our bloodline. So the contact shouldn't be that hard. It will maybe take some consistency, but it shouldn't be that hard. So when you start looking at these historical figures and in our culture, and looking at their stories, their words, everything that they say, again, you're going back communicating with them. Even when we look at history and we're touched by some of the ancestors, the things that they did, again, that is them communicating with you. That's why we never forget. We never forget what happened to us. We keep that in their face. Why? Because we remember. We remember what you did to our ancestors. We constantly keep them alive. So you think it's gonna be hard for you to connect with them when every day you got to remind these folks we still here and we ain't going for it. We keep their memory alive. And so once we become conscious of that, uh, like I said, when you become conscious of that, the ancestors is everywhere. They can do anything, anytime, anywhere. Especially when you look at what they've done to survive in the Americas or among diaspora. These are same ancestors. Okay, so they got the same blood when you start looking closer at their personalities. Okay, so if this is something that you're interested in, so now I'm jumping in the conjure, y'all. I'm jumping in the conjure. If this is something you're interested in, and you work with spirits, you're not maybe some of you are already conjuring some of these ancestors. But I can tell you, you can work with ancestors and never work with another spirit if you know how to choose your ancestor or your saint. I'm very interested. You again, you set up your table. You ready to conjure that, do that type of conjure or whatever. You would start with their picture, but they find out what they like, learn about them, research, find out for yourself. Because again, you're working with your conscious. When you're doing this, you're doing a kind of something they can feel that in the collective consciousness. Then you start calling on them and be consistent with it. That's the power that you have. It's already in your country. But if you know you have an intention with these spirits or whatever, don't get over here and think you can fool no spirit because it ain't gonna happen. It just ain't gonna happen. You gonna hear me say that over and over again. I've seen people jump over there and try to trick a spirit and it don't go well. So make sure your intentions is pure because these spirits can see right through you. In our tradition, we don't do no summoning. You will see over there in Western society, what they do, they go to commanding and demanding a spirit. We don't do that. You trying to make friends, you calling this spirit to do something for you. You're gonna be hollering and telling it all that type of stuff, threatening and all that type of stuff. But you need the spirit to do something for you. Is that how you gonna do that? A spirit that's not a threat to you, you gonna call it like that. That ain't had that who do we take a little bit of a different approach. Okay? We take a little bit of a different approach and we go over that. The most essential part is setting up a little space for them and finding out their likes and dislikes. Did they like tea? Did they like coffee? Did they like Coke? Did they like vodka? Did they like whiskey? What did they like? We put thought into it. Okay, and being very experienced before we really start doing things like this. Now, before you get out of the rim doing this type of stuff, you need to be guided to do it. Okay, so again, by learning more about what they loved and like, you create in life. You create an energetic magnetic that draws their presence near you. Okay, when you honor the spirit with offerings they delighted in during their lifetime, you build support and a trust across the veil. So again, spiritual relationships, it's about really building trust, especially when you're going to be dealing with saints, if you're going to be dealing with ancestors, if you're going to be dealing with angels. Now, angels are a lot different because um, I just feel like the angels are more different because they've never been human. Okay, and they got to keep the scales balanced and they have to do what's in the best interest of everyone. You'll get what you need and not what you want. Put it like that. With the angels, you'll get exactly what you need but not what you want. They'll get you, yeah, they'll get you out of it, but you get what you need. Okay, and working with ancestors is a little bit different. Things moves a little bit different because now these your folks. They're not bound by any sort of oath like that. Okay, they here to help familiar and to really help you heal the bloodline. That's what they there for. They can do more things for you that the angels probably couldn't do. And some ancestors have assignments to help us in our evolution. That's part of their work on the other side is to help us in our evolution. So you have some ancestors like that. Okay. So did I lose anyone? Do you understand what affinity ancestors are? Did I make that clear? Anyone have any questions about affinity ancestors? Did I make that clear? Okay. Anyone have any questions? No questions? Okay, no questions. Okay, so you would create an altar. Then some people have, at some point, some people have affinity altars. I don't think we're aware of it. When we got pictures of Malcolm X and all these ancestors in our house, that's affinity ancestors. You done call them in your house. You done call them in your house. Some of us got them already in our house. We got pictures of them in our houses. We've already called them in our space and don't even know it. Okay. This I had a lady, it was one lady said that she had a picture of Billie Holiday. She didn't know what she was doing and she didn't set up candles and everything. She just loved the picture. So beside the picture, she didn't put up candles and everything. And before she know it, Billie Holiday was coming to her house. She didn't conjure Billie Holiday. Didn't mean to. She didn't mean to. She didn't know she was creating an altar by setting them candles around the picture and just pouring so much into her, playing her music. She conjured Billie Holiday by accident. See, some of you doing it don't even know it. You're not doing it intentionally. Hey Lana, 3. Hello, Melanated Law, John, Joyce Lungus, Monico, Her Majesty. Welcome, welcome, welcome. TikTok family, welcome, welcome, welcome. YouTube family. Okay, so she was conjuring her. Some of us do it. We're not doing it intent. We don't know that we're doing it. Some of us, but yeah, that is a form of channeling. That is a form of calling on those spirits. And music is a great catalyst for that. Okay, music is a great catalyst for that. So just imagine when we start listening to the old. I like listening to the old Motown music and things like that. I love listening to Marvin Gaye. I love listening to them. It uplifts my spirit. Mahalia Jackson, those ancestors, we're coming in contact with affinity ancestors when we start playing their music, especially when we're going through a rough time. It's uplifting us. Again, those we're tapping into those energetic frequencies. Hello, Melanated Loud. Okay, that's what we're doing. I know it sounds like really, yep, really. Okay, it's especially if you have some sort of emotional connection with them, that is a way that you can channel them as well. So when you over here in hoodoo, these are the type of ancestors that you run into when you start learning things about your culture, about who you are, and the people that were guardians of our generation. I put it that way. They were guides. Okay. So we're never alone. You do have ancestors. You just don't know. Somebody done told you it's just family. It's just family. No, it is not just family. Okay. We have went over galactic ancestors. And I think tomorrow we're going to go over the family of the remembered. And this gets pretty touchy when you start looking at the family of the remembered. I probably just need to talk about it now. But when you go be looking at the family, your recent family, you have to be very careful when you're picking them. And see that's the conversation that needs to be had because most times that right now what we need to understand is that if we start venerating these ancestors in this present time, are they elevated enough to work with? Did they really care about us? What type of relationship did they have with us when they was alive? Because that's going to be the same relationship you're going to have if you start putting them on your altar. Ain't gonna be no different. Ain't nothing gonna change. They them the same people. They don't. Some of them don't get better because they crossed over like that. Versus when you start connected with more highly evolved, intelligent, elevated ancestors, you get more results. However, you are going to have to do that inner character work when you start working with them because they vibrate at a higher frequency. And a lot of them don't do raggedy stuff. They just don't do it. They won't let you do it either. You be wanting to do ugly stuff, and they just ain't gonna let you do it. They tell you get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. You need to try to, that's where you need to do your growing at, because you be trying to do stuff instead of trying to pray for folks and pray for yourself. Hi, Tina Cole. Okay. So again, raising your vibration and doing the frequency work. Hi, I'm a survivor. Yes, we're talking about affinity ancestors. So we have affinity ancestors that we can connect with uh beyond the deities. And I think a lot of people, they skip that, and you want to go work with the Orisha, and you want to go work with, these different spirits. And when I tell you you can work with ancestors and never cross over, like that, I mean that, because you do have some ancestors that are very powerful. Especially when you start looking at some of these saints. You got some saints that are very, very powerful that can do some things for you, that can shake and move. You have some plants like that, like High John the Conqueror. You can work with the spirit of roots for a long time. Some people just got that fire root work. They know the spirit of plants. And then you got some of our ancestors that just don't know that conjure work. They just know how to talk to spirits, period, across the board. They are very in tune. They know how to talk to spirits. Okay. So you'll see ancestors like that. And they never, as some of our ancestors, again, because when you go into ancestor veneration, the deeper you go, and I feel myself, I'm going to talk about my experience. It feels shamanic. It feels like shamanism. That's what it feels like to me when you start following the ancestors. Okay? Because the way they do things, they go get the spirit for you. They be talking to spirits for you. They be setting stuff up for you. Okay? It's just the way I feel, because the things, the way they have taught me. When you start following the ancestors, you think you want to work with these energies or whatever. I've found that the best way to do it is through ancestral veneration, instead of you trying to go out and go bypass the ancestors. They know better than you. In fact, they know what's the best, energies that you need to be working with. Okay. Or at least, getting their permission before you do anything. It just goes a lot smoother, you guys. It's just, I've experienced that it goes a lot smoother. And I think, again, from my perspective, I think that is why that it is front and center in a lot of ATRs. I think that's why it's front and center in a lot of ATRs, because of that. So don't dismiss that relationship trying to go jump over there and work with these other energies like the Orisha and like some of these lords. Start with your ancestors, and they'll start leading you exactly to where you should be, or the relationship you're trying to develop with a deity, they'll set that up perfectly for you. That's just how it is working. It's safer that way, especially if you're over here in hoodoo. A lot of people say, oh, that's closed, that's, you got to be in their religion. That's not true. So stop telling people that. You talk about stuff that's in people blood, and their ancestors had these deities pulling up on them. Uh, it might happen. I can't tell you that's not gonna happen. That you know that you won't vibe with certain ancestors, such as Malcolm X, down who Aretha Franklin. I can't tell you that those deities won't pull up on you. Affinity deities. I can't tell you that the laws, you won't have an experience with the laws of the reach. I can't tell you that, because I don't know how your ancestors are going to lead you, or what, I don't, they may lead you to do that. And it might just happen spontaneously. Sometimes it happens spontaneously and you don't know what the hell going on. and they'll just do that. Now you got this deity. It was one girl. What she said she had a spirit named Belphegor. I think he's a goetic spirit. But anyway, she said he was coming in her dream. The spirit started coming in her dream. She said she didn't know anything about him. She hadn't did any research on him. When she said, "What is that?" I said, "Oh my gosh, that's a goetic spirit. You probably need to look more into that. What you got going on? You need to see what you got going on there." But she called his name and she remembered the dream. So you would just have some of them coming up in your dream. I had ancestors I hadn't even seen before. I just remember these houses that they were taking me to. It's just a trip out because the houses look like concrete huts, concrete tents that you can walk into. You like, yeah, it's like kind of round, like a cone, a little sphere. And it was a lot of little houses made like that. And I was like, what is this? You know, and then it was gold fields, like brown fields of tall grass. I can go back and look at it now and I can remember them showing me around. I remember bits and parts of that dream. But again, they would start taking you places and showing you things. If you consistent on your ancestor veneration, they do be bringing spirits. What you mean by that? Atlanta 3, they be bringing spirits. Okay, so that's the Affinity Ancestors. You're already doing it. We have been doing it, and then the church will tell you that it's evil. You know, it's a evil. You shouldn't be doing it, but you already doing it. That's why we on Black History Month. That's what that is about. We doing affinity ancestral veneration. That's what Black History is all about. We've been doing it. We have celebrations. Then we do Juneteenth. We go on to do it with Juneteenth. That's what that's about. We are venerating affinity ancestors, the ones that are gone, the ones that are not here. That's what we're celebrating there. That's the energy that we're bringing in there. That's what that's all about. We remember, we don't forget. We venerate them. Just like these folks do with their president money and statues of these people that was massacres, you know. That's the best way I'm gonna put it. They do their statues of their ancestors that was massacres and um that was in a menace to civilizations. Like they venerate them, we venerate our ancestors that was fighting all that kind of stuff, oppression. They was fighting for liberation. They was fighting for freedom. So we venerate them. Remember, we don't we don't forget. Even though they try to block it out, you had to made them make a day. They only made the day Martin Luther King Day. I don't even think we got a Malcolm X Day. Need to have that, but y'all didn't want him up there because he was really wasn't for no government. So but you got Malcolm X up there. I mean, Martin Luther King up there because he was on y'all agenda at first until he started waking up, and then y'all unalived him. But y'all don't want no righteousness over there, no freedom over there. So we don't forget. We don't forget. Okay, so you're doing it all the time when you don't forget. Hi, Gerald Cole. I'm doing all right, sweetie. How you doing? Okay, so we don't forget. We do not forget. And so you're doing it anyway. And so when these people talk about that's evil and they the devil and your ancestors demon, really? So Martin Luther King a demon, Malcolm X a demon, Aretha Franklin the demon, all them Mahalia Jackson a demon, all them demons, all of them are demons. Is that what you're telling me? That's why people need to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. And if they demons, so is Moses. So is Jesus. They all demons too, because they dead people too that you're sitting up here doing stuff with. So if our ancestors demons, so is Jesus, so is Moses, so is So it's all them folks you sitting up here falling behind in that Bible. See how it don't make sense, how it sound crazy when you start putting it in a better perspective. That's why y'all need to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet, okay? Because you don't know what you're talking about. And I hear somebody that sit up there and say that to me, your ancestors demonic. Well, I guess your grandma demonic. I guess your great great grandma demonic. The folks that died in your family, all them demonic too. And what that makes you demonic too. So if you're gonna say that, you talking about yourself too. Don't make no sense that when people say crazy stuff like that about the ancestors. Greeting Miss Penny and chat. What's your email address, Miss Penny? I would like to get an astro reading. Okay, let me put that in there. All right. So if this that you are interested in and you want to learn how to really deepen your relationship with your ancestors, and I had people they've contacted me. I've worked with, and they say, "Hey, I don't know my family ancestors. I don't want to work with them. Them people are just dysfunctional. They were just unkind to me. I don't want. That's why I don't do ancestor veneration. Because this be some people reason why they don't want to do ancestor veneration because their family just a hot mess. I understand because my family was a hot mess. I said, look at this. I can't even work with none of these people, honey. I have to put these people on the altar and pray for them. I got to work with some ancestors I don't even know because most of these folks don't even like me. They weren't even there for me. I done went through foster care and everything with these folks. I can't even put them on my altar because they just too raggedy. They too ragged. I got to pray for these people. They got too much trauma up in there. I love them, but I can't do nothing with these folks. I got to pray for these folks and call on the higher ancestors that are responsible for them. Because I know we didn't start out like raggedy like this. I know damn well we didn't start out. You didn't. All that stuff that happened to you caused us to be raggedy like that. Okay, you're welcome, Andrea School 7068. That's what caused us. We got a whole bunch of stuff wrong with us. Okay, and when you get over there with me, I try to slow you down because you need to slow down and start looking at that. You're getting your nervous system together and start again fighting back for your divine sovereignty. Because these folks convinced you can't do nothing. They miseducate us. Um, we don't believe in ourselves. We codependent. We want to follow people. We want somebody to tell us what to do. Lord saw that woman at that church. That man told that woman. That woman came up there with $1,200. The preacher man told her, "Honey, it wasn't enough. That ain't what I told you." See that ignorance that people. I don't know why y'all still sitting up in there with folks acting like that and they ain't got no power in them. Talk about what Jesus do, don't do what Jesus do. That right there is a red flag to me. If you sitting up here talking about that man do, I ain't seen you raise not one dead person from the ground. I ain't seen you do none of that. You ain't turned water into wine. You ain't did none of that. You ain't fed no folks with a loaf of bread and some fish. You ain't did none of that. I don't see none of that going on here. I don't see none of that going. If I don't see you doing what y'all say the man did, I don't want to be fooling with you. You gotta be doing something, conjuring, doing something that man did. And everything the man did, y'all against. Because if I start doing what the man did, you gonna call me a witch and a devil worshiper and all that stuff. But yet when the man did it, it was okay when the man did it. But if I do it, it's something else. I don't, it's insanity. Make it make sense. Okay, baby, it don't make sense. Don't do what the man do. It ain't never made no sense to me. And people still up in there. It's scary. People still up in there and they still in the same situation that they was some of them when they got in there. It trips me out when I look at that. I ask the ancestors, what is going on there? I had took me a while to understand what was going on over there with them mesmerized by abuse. So a lot of them can't go on your altar because they really believe that too. You got some of them that passed away, but that believed in the heaven and the hell and all that because they put the archetype inside of you. When they start sitting you down and making you listen to that, they start putting that in your consciousness. So now you got your subconscious that's creating a spiritual heaven and hell in your mind. So now we got this collective archetype in our head, or we're having to unpack it to again find our divine sovereignty. Got to get some of that stuff out of there and change our perspective and the way we looked at that. We was dealing with a whole bunch of sick people that was making us sick. You still got that going on now. That man sick over there and making everybody else sick. They don't even realize they sick. You don't even realize y'all still looking at color. Something is wrong with you. Something the matter with you. You still looking upside somebody's head and you looking at the color of their skin and you think they less than you. You have lost your mind. Something is wrong with you. And especially when you know they're the first species, you wouldn't have a major religion around the world at all if it wasn't for a dark skinned person. We are the first ones who created them. I don't give care what they say. They go back far enough and look at who created their religion. You're gonna be looking at some woman looking just like me. And that's a fact, Jack. Is it okay to have one altar and have everyone on it? Is that disrespectful? What do you mean have everyone on it? When you say I ought to have everyone on it. Okay? That's a fact, Jack. You gotta looking at that all that's where that's gonna lead you. That is where that's gonna lead you. Don't make look, what do you mean by having everyone on it? I want you to be more specific about that California Forever 444. What kind of ancestors is that ancestors you're talking about? I wouldn't put let me say this. I do not mix deities with your ancestors. Don't do it. That is their home, that is their space. They are not to be sharing a space with another spirit, an outside spirit. No, 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 no. Okay. So you want to venerate Maya, Angelo, and Venus for ancestors. Usually, if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to work with a specific spirit like that, I'm going to set up a little space for them. It don't have to be big, but needs to be a space for them that focus in on their energy. That's just me. I would like the energy them to know that I'm calling them, and not in the collective, but I'm specifically talking to you. I need you to show up. So I believe that there needs to be a sort of a space for them if that is the particular ancestor that you want to call on. Depends on how you're trying to work with them. Are you doing inspiration? Are you trying to achieve some sort of a project? Is it something you're trying to learn from them? So just really put some thought into why you're wanting to call in with your intentions with them. And that'll tell you if you really need to set up a space like that. Because it might take you a couple of days or maybe a month or two to really hone in on the energetic frequency. That's why I say you have to, and they have to trust you. They got to trust you that you ain't calling them for something crazy. You know, they got to look at you and see what you got going on. And that's just how spirits work. And then as the time go on, uh, the energy will just get more and more clear. But they got to trust you. I know people think you go to your altar the next day, you gonna see a spirit there. No, you have to build trust with these spirits and consistency. That's why a lot of people don't come here and tell you, go into details about it because they know it takes time to do that. It takes intention and an open mind to communicate with spirits. Okay, no, y'all saying, that's scary. It's scary. No, it's not. You're doing it all the time. When you have those negative thoughts that's repeating in your head and you keep on doing stupid stuff, what you think that is? Or you don't like yourself and you keep repeating these negative things to yourself, or you're not good enough, or you keep chasing somebody, you a love addict, what do you think that is? Some of them be spirits that's influencing you, that manifest as repetitive negative thoughts and impulsive negative behaviors. But you don't know that because you don't know how spirits work on people. And once you start clearing that stuff out, but that'd be a lot of what people got going on. Maybe procrastination. That might be a combination of spirits that you got to dispel out of there. Okay, you don't know what's going on, but that's how spirits communicate. That's how spirits impact you. You see that once you start doing the shadow work and getting those things out of there. You have to change the record in your head and start grasping for higher frequencies and higher thought forms. Thoughts are truly things and they attract things. Okay, they attract things. If you stay focused on something too long that's negative, you keep giving it so much attention, it's gonna grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. Whatever you give attention to grows, it attracts. Those energies will build on that. Can it come out in the form of schizophrenia? I believe so. Your thoughts. Schizophrenia, that's a very tricky topic and it's very controversial. So it depends on what the person has got going on. You got some people in some instances, in rare cases, I'm gonna say it that way, that people think that it's schizophrenia, but they really are talking to spirits. Our ancestors really talking to spirits. Now it's been in some cases when this has happened among our community, when they show signs of this, when they get initiated, because you have people that's in some of these ATRs, such as Ifa, Palo, um, Voodoo. You'll have some of them that are experiencing these sorts of symptoms, and then when because it'd be a sign of again of a spiritual crisis. And because we're not in our indigenous elements, we don't recognize what's going on. So our ancestors looked at that as initiation needs to go on, and you need to get in alignment so you can have clear communication with these spirits instead of them impacting your mind like that. Now you'll hear this story go on around a lot of older initiates, especially when you go into listen to Mama Zogby's story when she talked about the Sibyls. When she talked about, how she got initiated into voodoo, she was going through a whole spiritual crisis that sounded just like schizophrenia. But when she went to go get aligned and got initiated to voodoo, and they set her ancestral chair up, because this was something her ancestors was doing to her. She had to get in alignment because somebody in her bloodline was supposed to be initiated. They was supposed to be connected to that lineage, have that lineage put up there like that. So she had no choice but to come up with the money and again get initiated. Because why? Because her ancestors was dragging her over there because they want dragging her to repair the line. She had to do it. She had no choice. That's why I say a lot of people um, that's over there in those religion. It's not because they want to. It's because their ancestors made them do it. It's that memory in the DNA, and them ancestors wasn't gonna have it no other way. Some of them are forced to repair the lineage or forced to go into that. And they go in there and they start elevating all their ancestors. They start doing healing work. They start doing character work, and their whole life line up. And these people are be very powerful and very talented. That's how it happens. A lot of them are over there. If you hear some of their stories, because I've heard many of their stories, that's the kind of story they tell me. Something like that happened to them. They was near on death or something like that. And you have them saying that they saw their ancestor or something like that that told them that that's what they need to do, but they didn't want to do it. And so when they didn't want to do it, them ancestors said, "Oh yeah, you gonna do it. We're gonna make you go crazy. You're gonna get sick until you get your butt over there and do it." because that's what it is. You're gonna repair the lineage. You're gonna keep this going on. You got ancestors that will do you like that. And say that's the part they're not telling you. That's the part some of them now. Like you got a lot of people over there now. You're willingly going over there. That's the stuff that I be going. Because when you look at what they have going on over there, because see, some of them you don't know. What some of them have going on over there, you just be like, this ain't what I want for myself. I'm telling you now, you got to have, your ancestors got to drag you over there with some of the stuff that goes on, because it's still a religion, you guys. It's a religion. And it's very important that you get into the right house, you have the good support, uh, because if you're not careful, what I've seen in some of these houses, if you're not careful, you'll go into a situation where you're recreating the same dysfunction you trying to heal. If that makes sense to you. But many of them, they be good priests and priestess, especially when their ancestors drag them over there. Because they have to do the work. Because you got them ancestors, they ain't gonna let you be raggedy. They want that line clear. They want you to do it. They dependent on you to do it. They gonna bless you. You're gonna have a full life and all that, but you also gonna follow their guidance, and it is not it's non-negotiable. You got some of that in our bloodline. That's something like I started looking at that. I was like, nah, I don't even want to get that started. Especially with the way it's very expensive to be in some of those religions. And I'm not sure if it's supposed to be that way. It shouldn't be expensive to be in a religion. And these days, as you see, you saw that preacher man up there asking that woman for all that money like that. It's very expensive because y'all done made that into a business. So now I got to ask because you ain't pouring it back into the community. We still got too much poverty in our community, and you steady getting rich. So there is no wealth being shared here. So I can't see God in it. I can't see God in it because there's nothing you're doing for this community, nothing you're doing for the youth. You don't have any programs going on where you're giving back to the people that set it up. There should be some type of fund. The money should be reinvested where it's multiplying, and it can take care of everybody in the church. Something like that need to be had. But now it ain't like that. You set it up to where you can get everybody money in the church. And when they can't pay for your lifestyle, then you want to act crazy and stuff. When you ain't even supposed to be doing that in the first place. You ain't supposed to be doing that like that. That money's supposed to be put there for orphans. It's supposed to be put there for single mothers. It's supposed to be put there for the elderly. Okay? Maybe some scholarships for the children. Maybe to build wealth among the congregation. If reinvesting that money where everybody benefits from it. That's where that probably should be doing. But not sitting up there making you rich with private jets and $1 million houses and all that, and you think you better than somebody else. No, you ain't. You ain't right. You ain't going out. You ain't doing no type of healing work on these people. Talking about healing to them. You know, Instead of gonna be talking about give more money and what Jesus did and not doing what they do. It's not. I don't think it's productive. I don't think it's constructive. That's just my opinion. Okay, so that's what you have going on there. Anyone have any more questions about Affinity Ancestors? And again, what's the name? What's her name? Andro had asked about our astro readings. And so I do offer those astro readings. They are $15. Again, it's a total breakdown of your natal chart from a hoodoo perspective. Uh, you gain a lot of knowledge behind it when we start looking at your placements, looking at your sun sign. A lot of information, helpful information comes out of it. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can inbox me your time, your date, your place of birth, and your email address if you're on TikTok. I've already put my email address in the chat here on YouTube. So if that's something that you're interested in, hit me up. I don't have a problem with it. It usually takes me a day or so to break down your chart, look at it, and give you the map, that root work, because that's what it is. It's your root work. It's the stuff, the work you came here with, the gifts you came here with, the talents you came here with. Give it all back to you. Um, your elements that you're more likely to vibe with and work with. So I put it all in that, and then I give it to you. Okay, and you start sitting with it, working with it, talking to your ancestors about it, and seeing how you want to approach the work. So it's just a wonderful thing to have to give you an idea of the work that you need to be doing or focused on when you look at your chart. You have your chart, you might as well see what magic is behind it, what spiritual allies you have, what elements are good for you to work with. Is it air you're good working with? Is it water you're good with working with? Is it fire you good with working with? So really looking at what's in your chart, what uh ancestors are you vibing with? What ancestors are coming up? What shadow work do you come here to do? So again, you'll get all that in that astro chart if that's something that you're interested in. If you are interested in hoodoo and you're saying, I don't, I'm interested in hoodoo. I don't know a lot about it. It seems like a lot, you know. I want to just learn about it. I don't think I'm ready to just start doing stuff. Then get in our occult study membership over there on Patreon, the Spiritual Roots Hoodoo Community. So we have the occult study where I think it's like $5 a month, I think. And then we have the ritual. You saying, look, I don't really know much about ancestors. I don't really know much about ritual, but I do want to learn. But I do want to learn. I do want to start setting up an altar. I do want to start focusing more on rituals and have a better connection with my ancestors. Then you probably want to get in the ritual tier. Probably want to start with that. Because that's the main thing with connecting with your ancestors. You have to be consistent with them. If you're at your altar, you like ain't nothing but jumping and popping. It's just I don't know. I thought I would, I am not getting the feedback that I want to get. How often are you going there, beloved? You want all this and that. How often are you feeding them? How often are you giving them sustenance? How often are you talking to them? Because you have to make time for them. And see, that this is my perspective looking at it. I got all the time in the world. What I ain't got is no money. And time really is a higher currency than money. That's why everybody trying. Okay, so you got to spend some time at that altar, sitting with them, learning how they talk to you, how do your body respond when they come around. And if your body is in fight or flight mode, you can't get responses like that. You're probably going to have to again start working on your nervous system, because a lot of our nervous system is not, it's messed up, especially right now with everything that's going on. I bet a lot of you are stuck in survival mode. You don't know what to feel right now. So much stuff going on around you. You so scared to feel. Okay. So again, that get tapping into that nervous system, getting it regulated so you can feel. And when you're in fight or flight mode, it's hard to feel something. It's hard to feel something when you scared. You don't know whether run, fight, freeze. You don't know what's going on. So again, healing that nervous system to be able to get the messages. And a lot of us got that going on, and we don't know. Okay, we have emotionally shut down and shut off. It ain't your fault. I ain't saying it's your fault. You're doing it to protect yourself. But it is your responsibility to start healing on yourself and loving on yourself. That's absolutely necessary and mandatory. Okay? Absolutely necessary and mandatory. So if that's going on with you, you probably, and you're just having a hard time with that, we have a know thyself. And that's for everyone, anyone that wants to know everything, but they also need assistance in healing. Uh, you'll get that, because we have a shadow work program over there that helps with all that. If that's something that you're interested in, that's a everything. Okay, that's a higher tier. and it comes with workshops, and you get to know everything. You don't know nothing and you want to know everything, you get that tarot. Now if you're just a person that conjure, you say, hey, I've did ritual, I've mastered myself, I did the shadow work, I've been doing this, I'm a pro, I got this, I'm ready to work with spirits. Yeah, I'm ready to be a big step, a high step, and start calling on some real spirits, setting up tables and working with spirits. That's what I want to do. I want to conjure. I can work with a spirit. I know how to work with them. Okay, then you won't conjure. You know, again, they're kind of focus point, kind of really focused. They're really focused in on what you're trying to do as far as root work or conjure. Okay. So if that's something you're interested in, get over there. We have a whole bunch of resources. Working with ancestors have helped me to not be scared right now. And it's not scary because when you start seeing stuff happen with your ancestors, you think it's going to be scary, but it don't be. I've not had a time uh, where I've seen spooky, something that frightened me. I've not had a time like that. Not with them. Usually, I'm just amazed when I see it. I'm more amazed in the way it happens. I can't even put it in a word. It just be like one thing happened, one thing happened, one thing happened, and resolved. That's just like I had an issue I was going on, uh, trying to get some stuff settled in America, and I've been trying to get these people on the phone and help me with this. Couldn't get nobody to help me with this. I said, "Oh my gosh," and I've been praying about that and praying about that, asking the ancestors about that, and they said, you gonna call them this day. This day, I want you to call them and get that situated." And I'm like, I done called this. I just think I'm gonna have the same kind of results with these people because they ain't fixing nothing I'm asking them to fix. And so said, call them this day. I called them that day, and honey, everybody I talked to, they sound like they look like me, and I was able to get the help I needed. What I actually needed, they helped me with. Just went so smooth. I said, "Ain't this something?" This is the kind of stuff they do. They'll even tell you when to do something when it's the way they set stuff up. I can't make this stuff up. If you've been hard, and I had been having a hard time with this. This going on the second month, trying to deal with this. And then finally, when I call on the day they tell me to call, at the time they tell me to call, I got better results. These are the things they do. They'll tell you when to go somewhere or tell you when to be somewhere. And then you go there and it be exactly you know, what you need. It's just the way, I've never seen anything like that. It's just something. They give me more courage. Again, and you start building your trust with them. Your intuition, you start trusting yourself more. It's a beautiful feeling when you start seeing it happen. You start trusting yourself more. You start going to them more. You start listening to them more. Again, they are helping you more in your work. And you'll find out there's certain work you don't need to do. You just need to go pray about it or talk to them about it. Because that's what start happening. You think you're gonna be having do a whole bunch of magic, but if you when you start developing a relationship with your ancestors, you start falling in alignment. You find yourself not having to do a lot of that. I'm telling they just start lining stuff. They start fixing healing your whole damn life. But you got to be fixing yourself. Your whole life will just start healing right before your eyes. And that's when you get real with yourself and go there to the altar. If you're depressed, you feel sad or whatever, go there and talk. You need to be talking. You need to be telling them what's going on. Your mouth is powerful. You're using it the wrong way to get on the phone with your girlfriend. Girl, he did this to me. A man, she did that. You're talking to the wrong folks. You need to be talking to them folks at that altar that can actually do something to help you. Because these other people, they're gonna give you an unsolicited, opinion or advice that's really gonna probably make your situation worse. If they ain't no therapist or nothing like that, but hell, I got to side eye some of the therapists because some of these therapists, I be asking them what the hell y'all talking about sometime. Okay, So you need to be there at that altar. You'll see a difference in your life, and you won't have to be doing as much work you think you're going to be doing. And if you do, it's going to be very simple, especially if you're a beginner. They're going to have you doing very simple stuff. It might be like sweeping the floor, it might be like washing a wall, it might just be like burning a candle or working with one herb, or, I don't know. But it's not going to be complicated. And as you go on, it'll get, it'll grow. Your magic will grow, and they'll teach you more complex magic. You will learn to work with spirits, you'll learn to work with plants more efficiently, water, whatever element that they have you working with. That's how that goes. That's why folks don't come up here and show you stuff. They'll show you a little bit of their stuff, but a lot of them ain't gonna show you everything because there's signatures, there's tags, there's things in that word. That's why you don't need. I don't prefer that them come up here and show you a lot of this stuff because it's just is so much more going on than what you're looking at. And so I don't prefer it. I don't recommend it, but they do it anyway. Then some people come up here and show their work. I'm just like, what kind of world is this? What's happening? I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare. Okay. I just wouldn't dare. Again, you're jeopardizing your work, exposing it to other energies. Okay, you're using your mind to do that, and so you're gonna let other people minds and eyes be on it. No, I don't need that on there. I don't need nobody else focused on my stuff but me. I know how I want it to move. I don't need nobody knowing what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. I don't need that. Okay, so if that's something that you're interested in, get over there. The most important thing about hoodoo, for anybody ask me, how do you get started? But, how do you do this? Ancestor veneration, shadow work, divination. Those things should be mastered before you even start picking up things and trying to do magic, and to learn to talk to your ancestors. Nobody's telling, I don't know how many people are saying this, but that's going to be important, okay, to ensure that you grow on your journey. You're going to become a medium. Okay, your first form of talking to a spirit gonna be with your ancestors. That's why I don't see why people go over there and try to talk to these other spirits. You haven't even built or strengthened your mediumship abilities with your ancestors. You don't even know if that's what they want you to do. You don't know if they want to. So why are you even doing that? They probably don't even want that for you. They probably want you to heal first in these areas before you start working with that sort of energy or spirit. And most time they probably gonna have you working with a saint or an angel. Okay, what if you live in a hotel? Can I still build an altar? I don't see why not. If you can find a little small space to do that. And I'm here in Thailand. These people got altars in their cars. Are you hearing me? These people got altars in their cars. They they fit them in where they get in where they fit in. They gonna put them in there. I'm telling you now. I ain't never seen nothing like it. I'm driving in people cars in the Uber, and they got, you best believe they gonna have some type of Buddha up there, uh Ganesh up there, uh it's gonna be something up there. Okay, they're gonna have some type of altar or something sitting up there in that car, on their scooter. uh you going down the road, you seeing altars everywhere. So when people are be telling me I can't put it there, I'm like, I don't see how, because people are doing it. So if there's a will, there's a way. And then you have to too, because I had to get out. I didn't show my altar, but when people came in to see my altar, it never bothered the Hispanics when they came in and saw my altar. They were always okay with it. It never was a thing. They walk past like they don't see it, because I know they got plenty of altars in Latinos, and those Hispanics. They probably got plenty of altars in their house. They parents taught them to do that right off the bat. Some of them. So a lot of them probably got the altars already in their house, so it never just really intrigued them like that. But when I get a person that was a citizen, uh, was an American, especially the pale faces. They get mesmerized by it, want to touch it. That's not for that. After I had to put a sign up there on my altar said, "Do not touch," because there you go, grab it. You think it's cute? It's not cute. It's not for you to be touching. It's not. It's that's not yours. Okay. Oh, it's just beautiful, yeah. But it ain't for you to be touching and messing with stuff. You got all this stuff over here. You got crystals and all that stuff over here. I have this for you. This stuff is over here by my desk, over here where I'm at. So you know it. It ain't nothing on there for sale. So why you coming? So I had to put a sign up there and say, "Do not touch. Do not." I have them looking. They might look at it. Look at it. As soon as they see that sign, they stop and they start talking about it, pointing at it. I said, "Mm-hmm." And you can tell so bad they want to go over there and touch something, but you better not. I put that big sign up there for you not to touch it. Okay, they want to tell you have some people like that. They be mesmerized by it. You have to let them know. Do not touch my altar. Do not mess with anything on there. It's not yours. It's not that don't. You have people like that, so don't let people touch your house, play with your stuff. That's your energy with your spirits. You want to keep it untainted. You've already put intentions on it. You don't need nobody. You don't know what they got going on, what spirit on them, or what they got going on. Don't have let them be touching stuff. Let touching your crystals, touching your stuff, your tools. You don't need them touching nothing of yours. I don't like people that and want to touch your crystal and put it in their hand. I like that. I've already programmed that to do what it's supposed to do, and you come over here. I don't know what you got on you. Okay, now I got to go home and clean it with Florida water and smoke and all this stuff because you to come up here and start touching on stuff. Okay, you can't let people, you got to have some boundaries for yourself. And some people, just got to outright tell them because they ain't got no sense. They're just like you had somebody had to tell this one pale faced woman, you want to touch, stop touching my hair. I like your hair. I don't like it. I don't like when you touch my hair because y'all done did our ancestors like that. You think our hair is some type of fetish. So, hey, 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 don't do it. Don't come towards me with your hand out trying to touch my hair, especially my hair. That's very spiritual. I don't know why you mesmerized by it. Okay, y'all got y'all kind of obsessed with black people hair. I don't know what's wrong with you. Let me touch it. Let me feel it. This ain't nothing to play with. Get over there and sit down somewhere. So sometimes you have to tell it. A lot of them mesmerized about your hair. They ain't gonna tell you that. Some of them, a lot of them mesmerized with it. They want to touch it, and so you have to tell them people get somewhere and sit down. Don't stop touching on you like that. I don't know what kind of energy you got with you, and your hair is very sacred. Okay, that's your crown. So no, you can't be touching my head like that. Okay, so making sure that, you keeping your altar protected. I letting that's the most important thing. They can look at it, they can't touch it. And then getting to a point where you don't give a damn what people think when they see it. Like I didn't care what people thought when they saw it. I used to worry about that, be hiding it and all that. I don't have that. This is my house. I pay bills. You don't like it. Matter of fact, by the fact you don't like it, it's telling me that it's working because you ain't got nothing good in you. Because if you don't like it, it's making you uncomfortable. It's something you bad, so you need to get away from here. That's how I look at it. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. It's making you uncomfortable. You not like it and want to get away from here. That's what it's supposed to do. It's for protection. It's to keep peace up in here. And apparently, you ain't got none in you because you can't get settled. It makes you uncomfortable to look at it. Okay, so you have to get comfortable with that too, and that's what some people have a problem with. Yeah, with California Frail 444. That's how you know it's wild. All that's going on right now. You're going through. That's the time, honey. You need to fire that out up and be crying and hollering and calling down and everything. That's when you need to go because you're gonna feel better. You damn sure gonna keep it up then, because when you calling down and calling on your ancestors and calling on God, honey, that's when you're gonna start seeing a shift in yourself. That's what it's for, to alter and to shift. Go there, even with that's how you're gonna know it's working. It's gonna work better and better the more you do that. I know that don't sound right, but it is. What happens when we start feeling sad and we feeling bad? What do? We go to church. Most of us go to church. We go feeling bad and we our heart broke or something like that. What do? We start going to church. And what you think your altar's for? I brought a staff with a skeleton head, and could you tell me what uh what else I can be used for? A staff can be used to hold power. The how I use my staff. Again, I use my staff. Again, it was dedicated and consecrated to my ancestors. I also, you know, put notches in it to count my children, the generation in my little family. Put notches in there. That's just my thing. Um, I used it to tap on the floor and call ancestors. Again, to call forth ancestors. If you're calling a particular ancestors, if you're calling forth the spirit, you can use it that way. Some people use a wand. Again, depending on how you want to use that staff. Okay. Sometimes I would take the staff into meditation with me as protection, depending on how you want to use your staff. Okay. I can just go on and on how you can use that. So let that be up to you. But I let the ancestors pick the staff. And so when I had my staff, most of the times when I work with the staff, it was calling forth ancestors. Or when I do journey work and go into the ancestors realm, I would take the staff in there with me. I know that sounds I'm kind of nerdy here, but when you understand shamanism and how we can take in tools when we go into do journey work, you can take those tools in there with you. Even have my obsidian dagger when I go, because everything has a spirit. Okay, so the staff has a spirit when I'm taking it in there with me. So usually I have whatever I have beside me, like my dagger that they gave me, my obsidian dagger, and my staff. If I'm going in there to do some work, I don't know what I'm gonna run into in there. I'm gonna take my staff. If I'm trying to do some healing work or something like that, or I'm asking for protection, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take my dagger in there, my obsidian dagger. So everything has a spirit. Your stones have spirits, and you can take them into meditation with you, depending on the work that you're trying to do. I know I just sound nerdy and probably went off base. I hope I didn't lose you. But when you get into ancestral veneration, it's going to feel a lot like shamanism, especially going into meditation, working with those older ancestors. They're going to, for me, they start teaching me shamanism. They start teaching me how to go into the ancestral realm and taught me about collective consciousness, how I can go in to access older ancestors through my consciousness. Okay. And so they start teaching me how to uh again tap into this framework because it's out there, it's already collectively in you. You just gotta open yourself up to the experience. And you have some people that have problems with that. So they go do some type of psychoactive plant medicine. Okay, they'll do psychoactive plant medicine to access these realms that's already in their minds because they have blocks up and they can't get to them. Some of them. Okay, and so that's important why you do shadow work, because if you start doing journey work and going to the ancestral realm and you haven't did that work, these demons can show up that's in your mind because that's what they are. These spirits or whatever can start showing up in your work and scare the hell out you because you ain't unpacked. You haven't unpacked this false belief. You haven't unpacked whatever is going on, any trauma that's going on with you. So now it's manifesting itself, it's showing itself on the astral realm. That's why shadow work is important. You just go to pulling back some of this stuff, especially with the trauma that we inherited. These some very nasty spirits, some of them. Some are very deceitful. You got spirits of jealousy up in there. You got spirits that want to shame you. You just got all sorts of spirits that they expose us to because of the dark psychology that our ancestors had to live up under, that we're still living under right now. You don't know you're sick until you start peeling that stuff out, and you we kind of seeing it with the religion. Okay, the folks that told you that you come from a man's rib and you ain't nothing. Then it goes on to tell you, they give you the Bible and tell you that God wants you to be beat like that, and God wants you to be a slave like that, and you're nothing. You know, you seen them. Who was that? The Mormons, I think it was the Mormons or the Seventh Day Adventists. They made a whole damn cartoon about how black people was the devil. Tripped me out. I said, "What the?" I said, "We ain't worried about y'all in church. We ain't never made no video like that about y'all. We've never spent a whole bunch of damn money trying to make y'all uh devils. Y'all spent money into that and thoroughly brainwash your members of that." When I seen that damn thing, I said, "These people is crazy." I said, "That is crazy as hell." Y'all sat there and said, how many of y'all we done sat in school with y'all and we did not even know y'all sitting up there that brainwash. Y'all folks is brainwashing y'all like that. Cause our ancestors ain't never showed us no crap like that. And none, I ain't on a church that we have been in and they sitting up there showing us stuff like that. Your religion is based on racism. Okay? It tripped me out when I seen that. I had no words for that. Okay? So you got to be very careful what what you're doing. But if you're doing the ancestors work and you're doing the shadow work, you're going to be open to medicine, and then you can go into the ancestral realm and they'll start working on you. I went in there and worked with higher frequency ancestors. They're laying me down on a crystal bed. First, I thought I was making it up. First, sometimes you think you making it up until you talk to other people. I thought I was making a little bit of it up until I talked to a girl. I didn't even know her. They had me to come on a podcast and talk because she loves my meditations and she followed me on YouTube. Honey, she could be in here now. Her name is Crystal something. But she had me going on the podcast and she started telling me about her experience listening to my meditation. And it sounded exactly like mine. And she was saying some of the things I was saying. I was like, oh my God, I had the same experience. So again, they'll have you going in there working on your DNA, trying to refine your DNA, those higher elevated ancestors. When you go in there, they'll start working on you. Okay, they'll start helping you work on your energy field. They'll start helping you work on your DNA. You know, again, going in there with intentions, knowing what you're trying to do when you go in there. If you go in there for healing, they're gonna set it all up for you. And you're gonna think, oh, am I making this up in my mind? Your mind is a healer. Your mind, again, you are the mind. The spirit is mind. So no, you're not making it up. Okay. So that's usually how I'm going in there, working with my most elevated ancestors. They will introduce you to shamanism. Now, I've seen a little bit of this because when you start looking at these initiations, because I'm nosy, y'all, when I see them doing stuff and they be showing their little initiation, they showing what they doing. You can tell that they're going into an ancestral realm. They're doing something. You can't tell me nothing. Even when you go looking at Bible and they're telling you about these experiences or dreams, a lot of them are going into the astral realm. Now, whether or not, because they did not really let you know, you think they're not using psycho act. You have to use for a experience that they're having like that. Our ancestors commonly use psychoactive substances. Some people don't. Some people don't believe in that. You can go straight in there if you that way if you have a great imagination. But if you need a little help and a little urge or want to umph to it, and you want to be wide open for it, a lot of our ancestors take psychoactive plants. That's what they're there for. They're plant medicine. They're plant spirits. They're catalysts for that. And you got to remember some of those plants are ancestral as well. Okay, our ancestors was using it. And so they will go in there and do a lot of healing work, especially if somebody has a lot of mental trauma. You've known people that go in there and go start working with those ancestral spirits and unlocking their mind. And when they come back, you know, they've lifted out a whole bunch of crap. or you have people, they want that experience. They know at some point at that in the time they're going to have to go and start working with that type of plant medicine to start again renewing and restoring their mind, because that's what it does. Some of that psychoactive plant medicine will restore your it'll help with some of your mental illness and push some of that stuff out. Sometimes that helps people. That's why some people go and do that, especially if it's heavy trauma and it keep replaying in your mind. One thing, one of my traumas, and it took me to, I would keep, and I think too, because of the way my mind works, you'll keep replaying. You go back to you remember the thing like you already there. You relive the memory like you're already there. That's PTSD. And when I was remembering stuff, I would go there. The emotions would come back. Everything would come back like I'm living it right there again. Didn't like that. Okay, all the emotions, everything was triggered uh like that. So I needed that trauma to be pushed out. It was taking too much of my energy to keep recycling that. And so I had to go in and start working on that and pushing, getting that stuff out of there, working on that. Okay, so some people you don't never know they got PTSD and they're rear triggered. They can be startled very easily. That's what was going on. It really tripped me out because I was like, I didn't know how bad, what degree my PTSD was until I started being startled so easily like that. It was really crazy. Then I said, I really got to do some real work on myself and go into my mind and start working on things. Ain't your fault, but it is your responsibility here. You don't know that's going on with you. You don't know how much care and love you need until you start paying attention to yourself. Okay, and you'll have some people that do that. They'll go or start taking shrooms. They'll take shrooms or they'll do ayahuasca. It's a couple of more psychoactive plant medicines out there too that help you again work on your mental health, help you move some things out. And you've had people that do that and it changed their life because of the spirit of the plants, because plants are alive. You had people go in there and talk to the plant because the plant is ancestral. It'll open your mind up and start uh again trying to shift your perspective, trying to heal you. So you'll have that too. So when you'll see how it is when if you're interested in doing ancestor veneration, if you are interested in honoring elevated ancestors, you will have your experience. Okay, because I know that's how they had me doing shamanism. It started feeling like shamanism, and I still do that sort of work because I still work with my most elevated ancestors. I do pray for family members, but for the most part, I'm going to be working with more elevated ancestors. It's just safer for me to do it like that because them folks over there in my family, they just, bless their heart. It ain't they fault. But I can't put them on there. They just ain't right. They sick. I can't depend on them like that. I couldn't depend on them while I was here. So why in the hell would I could depend on them in the spirit realm? Okay. I just did the ancestor meditation you have on YouTube. A lot of people love that meditation. They get good results with it. Okay. So a lot of people get good results with that meditation. But again, opening your mind, if you can visualize and you can imagine, because we love people telling stories on TikTok, and some we love story times. What's happening when people do story time? Your imagination goes to running. You start picturing everything in your mind. You ain't even got to see it. They taking you there with the story. Okay. So when you can start making these stories in your mind and start picturing in your mind and going there with your ancestors, you start having a real experience. You start to understand that the imagination is the key to talking to ancestors. That's how all of them had did it. You start understanding that closing your eyes and imagining takes you to the spirit realm. It's always been here. You find out that the astral realm, the physical realm, cannot live without the astral realm. It's very real. Okay. And that's just, and if people say, well, I'm not good at meditation. I'm not good at that. Are you good at contemplation? Can you get somewhere and sit down and be quiet? Can you do that? Might not have to. Can you just look at a candle for a minute? Just sit down and be quiet. Can you just not think about nothing and look at the candle? Can you do that? Can you just go outside, go for a walk, and focus on the trees and the birds and the grass, the sky, the air? Can you do that? Because you're gonna have to get somewhere and sit down, be quiet, some kind of way. My ancestors told me that imagination is the realm where thoughts become things. That's a good way of looking at it. That's a good way of looking at it. Okay. That's a good way of looking. So what you think it is imagination, and then too, I get you over here because you think you can't trust yourself because it happens so easily for you, and it be real. I'm listening to you because I know damn well it's real because I'm listening to everything you say. Okay, and it be making sense, and then you will look at me. I've seen you do it. Am I making this up? No, you're not. It's just so easy. You didn't know it was there. It's so subtle. You didn't know you had the ability to do it, but that's actually happening there. You've done the shadow work and you're making an honest connection with them. You're gonna get some information. Start asking them information you know you couldn't know. Usually they're gonna tell you something they know you couldn't know. That's how you know they talking to you because you could there's no way you could have made something up like that they're telling you. You just don't got that in you. You don't even have enough knowledge to know something like that. So how could be making it up? That's usually the kind of knowledge they're gonna give you, and it's gonna trip you out, and it's gonna be right. Okay, that's why you need to be following your ancestors. You know, again, building going back to spirit, because that's what you are. And what's fooling us is we think that people got the sauce, or they can give us a magic, or they can give no. You everybody got to get their own stuff. You already come there with that. Ain't nobody better than you, got more than you, or none of that stuff. You need to understand that and learn that. Okay? You understand that and learn that. You have all that you need. Don't nobody know more than you. Okay? You just gotta understand that and trust that. And that's what happens. We didn't trust ourselves. We had somebody leading us and telling us and all this stuff, telling us what to do, and we still want somebody to tell us what to do. Should I do this and should I do that and all this stuff? The answers are within you. It's not outside of you. It's always been in you. They got you following people, worshiping people when you're supposed to be bound down to the divine within you. Okay? I hope that made sense to you. So if you are interested in a community like that, because I'm going to break hoodoo down and I'll be coming back here um probably again and talk about some more things, but I wanted to get ancestor veneration out the way and help you understand ancestors in a wider scope instead of a small lens that's being presented to you. Okay. And I know a lot of us had ancestors that was just they were just not nice people. Or they were scarred, traumatized, all that stuff. Um, and we have to be careful in how we approach ancestor veneration. We want to let those that had that going on, let them continue on their evolution journey. We can pray for them. We absolutely will not, be working with them like that because they're just not healthy and they just wouldn't yield the kind of results that you probably want. Okay? So you can definitely be intentional with the ancestors that you work with. And so if that's something that you're interested in, uh we definitely focus over that over there. It was something else I was going to say. Ancestor veneration, it was something else. We talked about, yeah, family members. Family members, the again, the remember dead, those family members, I got to stay on that because that be very careful about how you're putting them on the altar and working with them. And some of you probably got family members up there now. You rethink that. If you haven't did the shadow work and you got them up there, rethink that. Really sit down and sit with that. Do they really need to be up there? Go back and revisit that a little bit. If you're not making any progress and you got them on there, you don't know what the hell is going on. I understand. I've been there. Okay. Chances are you need to recalibrate your altar. Okay, you need to start over from scratch that and start all the way back over. Because that's usually what happens. I've had people come to me and have that confusion and cloud. They don't know what's going on. They doing spell after spell after spell after spell. Ain't nothing yielding no good results because you ain't got the right people up there. You ain't got the right energy up there, or you have not did the shadow work. You think it's something outside that needs to be done, but really it's something on the inside of you that needs to be done to see a shift. That's how it works, you guys. Okay, so the more you change and master self, the more again you're tapping into magic because the magic is inside you. Once you start shifting your conscious and perspective, you will start to see the universe start to yield to you. It's a trip when you see it. It's a trip when you see it and you start living in it. But it's a big responsibility as well because a lot of these people that's not aware, you can't do what them people do no more because you know better. Okay, you know how this natural energy work and how to work with it. Peace, Miss Penny. How's everyone? We're doing okay. Africa no hyphen. How are you, beloved? Hi, Stephanie Kane. Okay. What if you don't know anyone who's passed? I just covered that. I just covered that, Shay Antoinette. You have affinity ancestors. You have elevated ancestors. You know some people that passed. You know Malcolm X is then passed. You know Martin Luther King then passed. You know Michael Jackson then passed. You know Aretha Franklin then passed. You know Mahalia Jackson then passed. We can go on and on. Dr. Buzzer has passed. We can go on and on with this. Marie Laveau has passed. I can go on. Do you want me to go on? Harriet Tubman has passed. You want me to go on and on? Frederick Douglass has passed. We can go on and on. Want me to keep going? Huh? Want me to keep going? Okay. Want me to keep going? Yes, you do. Your ancestors, you know, the folks done passed. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Okay. You just don't know you do. I have no pictures of, and I only ask for my eyes when I was going to the YouTube, Stephanie Kane, so they don't have to be related. We're talking about because you think it is just family. You have ancestors. You have ancestors that stood together just like family. When they did that boycott, how did they do that boycott? They reverberated it through our generational. We became a nation. We are a nation. How do you think voodoo worked? There are a nation of Orishas. They were not related, but they were in the same cultural structure. They were had an affinity with each other. They were a nation. Those are your ancestors. That's a nation. And I know they're not calling us a nation over there, the Black Americans, but we are a nation that sticks together. And when something happened to us, we act a damn fool when we see something that happened to us. So yeah, them your ancestors. They don't have to be blood related to you. That is your nation. That's your ancestors of affinity. Them the ones that say something when they see something ain't right, like Malcolm X or whatever. They say, "Oh hell no, you ain't gonna do our people like that. You ain't gonna do them like that." These are our leaders. So no, they don't have to be blood related to you or your family. They're already in your family. They're in your nation. These are how a lot of our ancestors became saints. Okay? They do not have to be blood related to you, as what they're saying to you. You can start channeling again. They have an affinity to you because y'all had some of the same struggles together. They protected you, they guided you, they understand your struggle. Okay? Y'all come from the same generation. Okay, so yes, you can call on them because these are the ancestors that was fighting for you to have freedom and liberation. So yeah, you can call on them. So they got you thinking it's just the family members. No, 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 no. But you got to understand too, if these people were a high moral character and they carried themselves, they had mastered themselves a lot. I would think if you if you would call on Malcolm X, he don't want no raggedy men calling on him. He wants somebody with a structure, who has courage, who is brave, and he would be an ancestors that would teach you the art of conjure, because that man had a mouth on him. He was highly magnetized. He would mesmerize people. And if you want a speech like that, you want to have that type of effect in your speech, that ancestors you probably will call on, especially if you were an activist in trying to heal your people through words. You will call on him. He's a nation. Matter of fact, he need to be, he need to be a saint. He need to be canonized. He need to become a Law or a Risha. He would be up kind of up in that status when we start talking about these characters, because you can't call on him if you raggedy, because he wasn't no raggedy man. So he gonna require you to have a high, some type of higher. And he's very highly intelligent, and he educated himself. So again, when you're calling, understand these ancestors. When you start calling on them, some of them you're gonna have to be on a certain frequency. They have higher frequencies too. So when you start really understanding spirits and stop just grabbing stuff and listen to what somebody, sit down somewhere and learn these people, learn these spirits, because they might not work with you the way they work with somebody else. And these people may be doing superficial service to some of these spirits. They haven't did no type of work. They just done put something up, and now they doing something. They don't know nothing about this spirit. They don't know what they doing. They don't know nothing. But if you're gonna do it safely, again, you need to do research and know about these spirits before you start calling on them, and then know if they're gonna come or not. How's your energy? Do your energy match with their energy? Were they doing some of the things that you are doing? All of that is important. And I'm telling you now, you think you're gonna be calling on some of these spirits. Some of them just don't do ugly stuff. It has to be justified. They're not just gonna be doing no hicks or something like that on somebody, and it ain't justified. They're not gonna be turning against another uh practitioner because you got something going on with you. Spirits don't work like that. They're not like people. They're not manipulative. And where if you working with the right spirits, most of them ain't gonna be doing no manipulative, deceitful stuff for you. Matter of fact, that can drive them from working with you. They'll get away from you. You be sitting up there looking crazy, and ain't nothing happening for you because you just ain't gonna do the right thing. You ain't gonna fix yourself. You just gonna keep on doing stuff that ain't right. We do justice work over here. We don't do revenge work. We do justice work. Are you justified in it? How did it cause you any wounds, mentally, spiritually, financially? What kind of, how did it affect you? How, what did it do to you? What kind of wound did it put upon you? How did it inconvenience you? If it's gonna have to be justified. We do justified work. Forget what you heard. This is how this go. Usually we'll be doing a revenge type of stuff over here. And then if you're doing stuff like that, more than likely you're gonna be working with, you know, a spirit that you're gonna have to pay. And if you ain't careful and you ain't good with it, it could backfire. Depending on what you're doing. We don't have karma over here in hoodoo or whatever, but your stuff can backfire. A worker can come in there and find out what you're doing wrong, and they can fix themselves. And when they fix themselves, again, it's gonna recoil back on you, depending on what you're doing. And especially if they can tell who did it, and that they get the right fixer, and the fixer know how to send it back. It can backfire. That's what we talk about. It can backfire. So that's what happens when you go in there and start doing revenge work. You think you getting away with something, but if that person go to the right practitioner and they know what they doing and do a return to sender, that stuff can backfire on you. And there you go looking crazy. You got all types of health problems. They don't know what's wrong with you. And that person doing just well. You wondering why their work ain't working because they went somebody and fixed that. They know it was you, and they did a return to sender and a recoil, and now you having the impact of it. So yeah, it's such thing as backfire. We don't believe in karma and three times, but yeah, you ain't doing something right. We do believe in backfire, return to sender, as they call it. I feel that justice, only revenge might want to do some healing work. Now we do for eye for eye. If you did that to us, damn well we're gonna do it right back to you. If it's justice, if you caused us injustice, yeah, we're gonna get justice. That's what that's about. If you're trying to get revenge, think about what you're doing. There's a difference in justice and revenge. Justice, you have had to pay something. It costs you something. It took something away from you. So now you got to get justice. They took something away from you. You can't get it from no court. You can't get it from nobody else. And you got righteous anger. You need justice. Then yeah, go ahead and do it. But if you're just doing revenge stuff, because you got to be careful how you approach that altar. Okay, you got to be careful how you approach that altar. What how you work, and even when you get done with that work, you got to go clean yourself. You got to go do a whole cleansing. You got to do, and after that work, you have to do forgiveness work. Forgive yourself and forgive yourself for having to do that to them. But you had no choice. You got to go in there with some type of humility because you can't let those emotions take you over. So you got to go back into your parasympathetic system and keeping it regulated at all times. You didn't even want to do them like that. But hell, some people make you put them on their altar, and that's the only way you can get justice. Okay? And I have to tell people our ancestors had more time than money. Okay? They had a lot of spiritual power and not a lot of rights. And they put that to work right there on that altar. And they put some work, put in some work on some people. And it was righteous. It worked because it was righteous. And the scales weren't balanced. And they balanced the scales with it. So you really have to put work in. And you got some people, they're good in court cases. You got some practitioners, that's all they do is court cases. They good at it. But the thing about doing court work, the thing about it, you got to be on top of it and start what you got going on. Because that's going to be a consistent working to get the results that some people want. But you got people that specialize in it. Okay. Well, Stephanie Kane says, say a liar. But that's justice work. Justice's work is not about revenge. It's just trivial. You don't like what they said to you or whatever. Did that take something from you? Did that take something from you valuable when they said something that you didn't like? No, it didn't. It's just something that you didn't like. You probably need to grow behind it if you still carrying it. Not putting, not going there and trying to do something to somebody because they said something you don't like or you want to practice on them. It's just crazy. You're going to get yourself in trouble like that. That's what's going to happen. Okay. The work is so worth it. It is. The work is so worth it. When you learn how to regulate your emotions, and some of us are highly emotional. We love drama. We are addicted to excitement. We always got had something jumping and popping and all that stuff. We can't get nowhere and sit down. We're love addicts. Excuse me. We're codependent. We constantly want to be with people, around people all the time. We constantly want to be dumping all our problems on people, garbage dumping all our emotional baggage on people instead of fixing what's going on with us. We want emotional garbage cans we can garbage in, and then when people give us the answer to fix it, we don't want to fix it. We want to continue to be this toxic person that just keep dumping our garbage on people. You got people like that too. They don't know who they'll be without this garbage that they're carrying because this is their identity. Their problems are their identity. If they were to get rid of their problems, they don't know who the hell they gonna be. You got people like that. Hey, sacred goddess, you got people like that. Hey, Octavia said, yeah, Shay, you got people like that. I had a woman to come to me, and no matter what I gave her to do, and she said she was cursed. And she really felt this in her heart. And so I started giving her work to do to be consistent at it, to do it. She didn't want to do none of it. I don't think that's gonna work. You ain't even tried. I tried that before, it didn't work. She kept, I think I saw her 3 times. Ancestor said, stop seeing her. Don't see her no more. Don't help her no more. That's not what she want. She want to form a, she wanna stay like that, so she can dump on these spiritualists, because she done went through 2 or 3 spiritualists, and I'm sure they realized that's what she was doing. So you be careful with people that want to be hexed. They want to be cursed, but they're not willing to do any type of work to get that stuff up off them. They're not doing any type of work, and every time you call them, they talk about how sick they is and all this sort of stuff, and they ain't talk about none of the work that you have gave them to get that stuff off of them. And now leave them alone. Leave them alone. Don't get pulled into their stuff. Well, you know them folks make you sick. Okay. Well, you know you make them people. They don't want no help, and you'll get people like that. You'll get people, you'll tell them what's going on with them, and then when you tell them what's going with them, they'll say that ain't it. Well, I don't know what you come here for. You waste your money, because I'm not gonna tell you nothing that you know. I'm not gonna tell you no lie. I've had to tell people that. They get upset. I said, what do you want me to do? You want me to lie? You know I ain't lying, because I'm telling the truth. The reading just didn't go out your way. That's not what's going on here. You know. But some of y'all want a lie, and then when the spirit tell y'all the truth, oh, that's not it. It be very it. You have some tarot readers like that. They've been reading for themselves for a long, long time, or they've been reading for other people. Then they have need to do some work, and then they try to read for themselves. They can't read themselves because you refuse to see yourself. You refuse to see you trying to heal. They can't heal themselves because they're not ready for the truth. You'll have people like that. They'll come to you for a reading, everything. You be hitting hot there because they don't like what they're hearing. Every reading ain't gonna be like what you hear, because they're, again, they're to help you heal and put your life in balance. It's not to judge you, it's to make you aware of it, and again start healing that, so put your life in balance. You think it's this, but it starts with you. It's the choices that you're making that make your life, dysfunctional. But people don't want to hear that. They have these, and then they don't make it no better that you get tarot readers up here with these storylines, and y'all run with these storylines, and you think that's how they go, but that's not how they go. They telling you about who cheating and who this and who that. I've had people to come here and come to me with that, and they reading change. So it changes, because that's not what the spirit is telling you to do. The spirit is going to be saying, "Why are you so interested in them cheating? Are you so interested in that? Why are you so interested in the other person? Because it's really going to be about them, and it's only so much a reader is going to be able to see, because that person has not given us consent to look into their energy. You have people going to other people, do a whole reading on another person. I don't allow it. No, that person is not here. You ain't getting it on you. You getting it on a whole nother person. You ain't even got that person permission to be getting a reading on them, and they're not even here. No, you need to be getting their reading for you. You the sick person. You are the sick person. You need to focus on you. Now, if this read has something to do with you and this relationship, yeah, it'll come up. But I'm not doing a reading on a whole nother person that's not here. It doesn't even make sense. Okay, exactly. Human struggles with truth. Those are vipers. Yep. Drain your energy. Yep. Stephanie Kane. Yep. 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 And you get people that do stuff like that. I had a guy that came to me. He tripped me out, and his girlfriend wanted to take a break for him because he had too many toxic behaviors. And so he come to me, and he was like, "Well, I want to see what she's doing, and I've been doing some work, and I just want to see what my reading has got to say." And so I did the reading, and he, on him, and she didn't look like she was coming back. He wanna know if she's coming back. I said, "No, sir." He said, "Well, I've been working on myself." I said, "Well, sir, how long have y'all, went y'all separate ways?" "Oh, it's been about 2 or 3 weeks." "So you think you changed in 3 weeks?" He actually believed this. And his cars is just like, "Hell no, he ain't changed. That man's still raggedy." God couldn't tell him that, you know what I'm saying? But you need to get somewhere and sit down, and boy, you got some stuff going on with you. That girl don't want to be bothered with you until she see some real changes in you. In 2 or 3 weeks is not long enough. That's mental in slavery. Okay. That boy really thought I said, and I couldn't tell him that had another man to come to me too. That, some people think they're slick. Had another man come to me too. He was working on his wife. I don't know what happened, but the wife and everybody left him, and he thought somebody had put something on him. So I gave him some work to do, and to call me back and let me know. That's one thing about it. I don't mind giving you work to do, telling you what to do and how long to do it. I don't mind doing that. That comes with the uh, a reading with me, because more than likely I'm gonna give you something to do to help your energy to put you back in balance. It's gonna be something simple. But I gave him the work to do it. He said, "I feel better. I feel better since you gave me that, all that." I said, "Good." He said, "Now I need you to do something with my wife and all that stuff." And every time I got to ask him about this wife, about what really happened and what went on, I've never got no answer. I said, "Spirit, man," said, "that man lying. That man is lying. That man ain't right. Don't mess with that woman." Because you could never get a clear answer on why she left. He could never give you no clear answer. I'm not going against that woman will if she had a good reason for leaving. Sense of me working on that woman, and she had her reasons for leaving. You ain't telling me why she left. People don't just get up and leave their husbands and spouses like that without something happening, some type of indication of what was going on. So I said, I'm not gonna do it. I sent it to another worker, and she said the same thing. She said, I wasn't fooling it with that man, because that man ain't telling the whole truth. Okay. And he said he tried to talk to a whole bunch of practitioners to help him with this. They not gonna touch you. I don't know a practitioner's gonna touch you with that story that you're telling. If they got any type of etiquette about their work, they're not gonna be fooling with you like that. Because your story don't match. You can't tell us why she left. You can't give us details about what went on and why she left. So nobody's gonna help you with that. Okay. Uh, and especially that's why with relationships, because it's got so much codependency crap going on with it, and I get it. That makes people crazy. Yeah, I'm telling you, it makes people crazy. I really, you can't get no sense into them. Some of them. I, I got to a point where I ain't like doing relationship reading, because you tell folks to do a right thing, they go out and do the opposite and inject their life up worse, and then come back to you for a reading, and then go back out there and do the same stuff. You done told them that's not that. You need to get somewhere and sit down and try to find yourself. That's your problem. You're gonna keep running into this until you deal with what's going on with you. You're gonna keep recreating mess until you find out what's going on with you. He wasn't right. He wasn't right. That man wasn't right. I knew he was trying to do that. To that woman, she got her own reason, because you can't tell me why she left. You can't tell me the situation or why she left. Okay. And then you have some of these women that want to put love spells on men, and that's very dangerous. I done did that. Didn't know it was gonna take effect. Did first time I did something like that. Easy spell to do. I think that's the easiest spell to do, to get your butt in so much trouble you be sitting up looking crazy. And I did that. That makes them obsessive. Okay, make them just all up on you like that, and then when you finally over the relationship, you can't get rid of them. Now they stalking you. That's what that love spell stuff gets you. They say you need to figure out why you so codependent like that. Why you a control freak? Why you want somebody obsessed with you like that? Because you don't know what you getting yourself into. Really, really think about those love spells and stuff like that. Because these people, they become obsessed. They don't know what's going on with them, and then before you know it, you on the ID channel some damn where. Because you want to put a love spell on somebody. You seen that man up there at that unalive himself and his wife, and they said something about the wife was telling the mama, the auntie, put love spells on the man, and but that man unalived her and him. See, that's kind of stuff happen when you start doing love spell. You think something so innocent like that, but that's kind of crazy stuff that happens. Okay, that's kind of crazy stuff that happens. They get obsessed with you like that, and you know it's working. I remember when mine started working. My ex, he said, I feel like you put a spell on me because I can't get you out of my head. I mean, I just can't. Your words and everything just be in my mind. That's when I realized, like, oh my God, when I first I did couldn't tell him that, but I said, oh my God, the little I was just, oh my gosh, it really worked. And I didn't burn a candle anything. I ain't used nothing but a dirt and a tarot card and some crying. That's all I did. The power of your emotions and your intent. Like that love. You think you're in love with somebody that make your emotions run very, very, very high. When he told me that, that's when the memory came back to me. I said, "Oh my God, when I did that, I did a spell." And the way he was acting, I never forget. I never forget how he was acting because I had went on with my life. I had forgot about it. I had went on with my life. I had met someone else. Me and him was doing fine. And then he started calling me on my phone. I'm like, no, like you broke up with me. We're broke up. And so my the guy I was dating got tired of him asking calling my phone. He picks up the phone and he go to talking crazy to him. He said, that dude is crazy. He over here. I'm gonna wait outside for him. I said, oh hell no, because I don't want none of like this to go down. I don't want nobody getting hurt. So I called the cops, and he calls the phone again. And I let the cops speak to him on the phone. And the cop said, hey man, you don't need to come over here messing with this girl. Uh Leave this woman alone. This woman is minding her own business. He said, you come over here, you're going to jail, man. Don't come over here bothering this lady. You could hear him screaming on the phone. He said, well, you better stay your ass there because I'm on the way. My eyes got so big. I said, oh my God, this man is crazy. I ain't never seen him act like this before. He was totally out of character. It was to the point I've never seen anything like this. I didn't want to go back to him. But see, I had did this love spell. Now this spell is working hard on this man. It's working hard. It's working so hard on this man. This man to start having his mama and his sister call me to pay the guy that I'm dating to pay him off so I can go back to him. That man was over there paying my mama to call me and to get me over there with him. That shit. I'm telling you, I had not believed, and there was an accident. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't even know it was going to work. But when he told me with his mouth, he said, I feel like you put a spell on me. And it all came back to me. What I had did in his backyard, the reaction I had, I'm just doing something to deal with my thing. And, didn't know that it was going to really come true. And it really happened. Couldn't believe it. It was happening right there in front of my face. Couldn't get rid of that man. Could not get rid of that man. I ain't never seen him act like that. And he even said it with his own mouth. He said, I feel like you put a spell on me. Your words in my mind, your face in my mind. I can't get you out. The biggest freaking mistake I ever made in my life. The worstest relationship ever. See? That's why you don't want me to be doing stuff like that. Don't do that. And that man would have hurt me too. That man would have hurt me. That man, he said, he told me, he said, I saw you. He said that morning, I didn't come to the house. He said, I know dude had spent the night with you. By this time, I ain't thinking about him. I done moved on. I don't even feel like I did at first. You know what I'm saying? That stuff, those feelings be temporary. Okay? They be temporary. You look at the side that man head 5 years later, you're gonna wonder why the hell I wanted to put a love spell on him. That man was raggedy. You know what I'm saying? So really think about what you're doing. And so he told me, he said, yeah, I didn't, cause you think I didn't come over there tonight. But he said, but I saw you taking that nigga to work that morning. I saw you out there. I know what you had on and everything. He said, I started to jump out on you and him. He said, cause I had my pistol on me. And I said, "Oh my God." He said, "But I didn't do that because I know you would have never forgive me for that. You would have never." I said, "I sure wouldn't. I don't want to be with nobody like that with your crazy self. No." I said, "Oh boy, I know you want to do that boy like that. Where in the hell I would let you do him like that, boy." He said, "I know you wouldn't forgive me. You never want to be with me again. So I didn't do that. I just sat there and watched you. Do you know how much it took me to watch you?" He said, "I followed you all." I said, "Oh my God, it was crazy." And I can remember me and him, we was together one time. We had went to the park or something, and he kept saying, "Baby, I think somebody following us." And I'm like, "Ain't nobody following us." You know, but it was him the whole time following. I'm not even paying attention. Okay, so that's what happens. You think you want that for yourself, that's not what you want. And it's very easy to do. Like I said, it's easy as hell to get into trouble. It's hard as hell to get out of. I couldn't get rid of that man. That man, mama was calling me. That man, auntie was calling me. I remember when he was at my mama house and I was with again my new little friend. And he pulls up at my mama house with my new little friend out there. And he calls my mama on the phone. My mama goes out there first and talk to him. And she said, "He out there, he want to talk to you." I said, "I'm not going out there to talk to him after no. After he acted like that. Uh-uh." And then my little friend said, "Look, go on out there and talk to him because the man ain't gonna leave you alone till you talk to the man. Go back to I stand out there with you. I make sure he ain't gonna put his hands on you." Because I was scared of him by the end. I said, "That man is crazy. That man to call this phone and act crazy. And he want me to come out there and talk to him? Hell no." you know. So but my little friend, he stood out there with me. I said, "I'm into it. Just don't say nothing to him." But he just stood out there and let us talk or whatever. It was the weirdest thing ever. I've never experienced like that. You'll know when it work because they act crazy as hell. It tends to work very fast, but it's hard as hell to break that stuff. It's hard as hell. So don't. I wouldn't recommend it, Lord, because that was so scary to me. 'Cause that man was acting out of character. That man was toting pistols and stuff. And by the time he was caring, I didn't care no more. I was happy where I was. Okay, didn't even know. When you move on, you ain't gonna be thinking about them no more. That's a temporary feeling. It's gonna pass. Okay, it's gonna pass. And that's not what you want to be doing. You think you want to do that, and you probably want to do a come to me, boy, or some honey, sweet stuff, or something like that. That was our ancestors had that when they, try to get them men under control, and they was under patriarchy like that. But these days, I don't recommend it. Cause honey, you might find you another boo thing that's better than him. You don't even know you being treated wrong until you find somebody else better than them. So I don't advise it. Okay, that's been my experience. Time here. Does anyone have any questions for me? Got anything you want to ask me, or anything you want to add here? Because we talked about affinity ancestors, and then we talked about again, getting yourself in a pickle with these people. I wouldn't even want them if I have to do that. Yeah, you got to do that. And you got some people that do that. You got some people that do that. It's people that just do that. They want to do a love spell. They want to do, I can see do some sweetening work or something like that on them. Or, even some domination on them. I can understand if you're doing some domination on them or if you sweeten them on up. But that love spell is gonna bring obsession. It's gonna trip you out. They just totally be acting out of character. I had never seen him act like this. And he said it. He said he never act like this about no woman. I said, "Oh my God!" But I was just a beginner. I didn't know that it was gonna work like that. Okay, I've had some magic that worked like that just forgot about it and went on, and then bam, it's right there in your face. And that was my first time ever doing magic like, and it worked. And now doing magic like that is really easy to do because you have ancestors that's burning candles on people's pictures and their love and their relationships. So it really does work really fast, especially if you already have a energy exchange with them. You've already opened that portal up, and you've been again when you are having intercourse with them like that, y'all in each other energy like that. And so when you have that opening, it just happens even more faster. And then women got that intuition, that gives that amplifier work a little bit more, especially when it comes to things of the heart. Okay, so you want to be careful about that. I don't advise that for you because you be looking over there like me, scared as hell, not knowing what to do. You don't even know how to fix that. It's something you was sitting up playing with. You didn't even know that was gonna work like that. Now you don't know nothing. You just learning. You know what I'm saying? You did it on the whim, and bam, it happened. So don't be like me, be looking crazy. Okay, having to deal with all that because it's stressful. It's stressful. It is stressful. That's not what you want. I can tell you from experience that man was stalking me. End up having to get a 5-year restraining order on that man. I had to get a restraining order. That man put sugar in my tank. I went through hell. Okay, that's not what you want. When you're ready to get rid of them, you can't get rid of them. I had to go through hell trying to break that up. Okay, so it looks like no one has any more questions. Uh, Anything to add here because we've covered a lot. And we talked about the remember dead. You want to be uh very careful about who you put on your altar because some of our ancestors, they were sick, they were traumatized, they went through a lot of stuff. It's not their fault. The main thing now is that you focus on and heal all the things that were passed on to you and start loving on yourself, doing things for you that they couldn't do for themselves. Okay, and working with your most beloved ancestors. So you can work with them. You don't have to know their name. Some of their names got lost in time, especially when we start going back 3, 4, 5,000 years, because those are the ancestors you're going to be working with. Uh, Especially if you're talking about galactic ancestors, that don't even have no time and space with them. And then you're talking about what was the other ones? The most elevated ancestors and the affinity ancestors. Again, you're going to really have to do some research and make sure you're in alignment with that frequency. Oh, the ancestors of the land. Okay, land ancestors. Very powerful ancestors, very powerful lineage. Now those ancestors are going to go back 3 4,000 years. Then you got the affinity whale ancestors that's in our nation, that's in our culture, that you can work with them as well. Depending on what you got going on, if you're a writer, if you're a musician, uh, if you're a singer, a rapper, uh, you give speeches, you just have a variety of bright ancestors that will work with you and teach you things. So that is available to you as well. So when you think of ancestors, we're not just thinking of family members, we're thinking of the nation, we are thinking of the ancestors on the land that was already there. And we're thinking of the ancestors who bought this in the form, who mapped out astrology. Okay. They're the reason why you're Aries, you're a Capricorn. They're the reason why you know that because they mapped that all out. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Hell, Miss Penny, I purchased the Know Thyself and it has me locked out still. I don't know why I would have you locked out. I would log out and log back in. I don't know why that's happening there. Now, unless you did a lot of, did you upgrade and downgrade? If you upgrade and downgrade, that might do something. Let me see how many people in that tier. It might be closed. Let me see how many people in that tier because it's only 20 people that can go in that tier. So, and I have it that way. Let's see. I have it that way, but I might have to change that because what I'm noticing is that people are getting in there. And I have to say that if you're getting in that tier and you're not coming to the meetings, I don't know how much progress that you are making. I don't know how much progress you are making if you are in that tier and you're not coming to any of the meetings. That's going to be so important that you show up at those meetings. And if you're not showing up at the meetings, what are you gaining there? Because the healing circle is going to be very important. So if you're not in the if you're not why are you not going to the meeting? I can't express that enough. I can't make you go, and no, it doesn't count if you're not going into going into the healing circle. Let me go over here. You're not going into the healing circle, and you're not sharing. You're not. There we go. You're not sharing. You're not talking about what's going on with you. You're not doing any of those things. You know, you're just reading the material, and you're not sitting down with anyone doing any shifting or anything like that. You're not going to get a lot out of that course. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, it's 18 people in here, and it's supposed to be. You should be able to get in there. The only way I can see you're not getting in there, sweetie, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Is there anything else I missed? Yeah, you should be able to get in there. The only way I can see that if you're having problems with that, uh, if you upgraded and downgraded, I know that some people say had trouble with that. Log out and log back in because it's still room. It's two more slots left there. Okay, so you shouldn't be locked out. I'm sorry this happening. Okay, no, just started it. It just did it the other night with the here. If you upgraded and downgraded, if you're doing a lot of upgrading and downgrading, that would mess it up. It seemed like it catches or something. It'll delay it or whatever Patreon does. But if you did an upgrade and downgrade, especially within a short frame of time, it'll do that. Okay, but it's not locked, so I would log out and log back in and reset it. That's what I would do. Now, if you did an upgrade and downgrade, that would affect it too. Okay, people experience that do upgrading and downgrading, so probably want to look at that. Okay, but it's still room in there, so you should be able to get in there. Sorry you're having that problem. Oh shot, Miss Penny. I missed the meeting the other day. Yeah, we're having another meeting, and I got to post that today. We're gonna have another meeting this weekend on Saturday. I try to get you guys in there twice a month. Um, at least twice a month within the month to get you in there talking and everything. Because I want you talking so you can see how you feel after you talk. Because a lot of us are used to holding in. We used to, I can't tell you how much we're trying to be resilient and we just tough it on through. But that's not the space for that. No, I don't want you tough. I need you tender. I need you to be feeling compassion. Okay? I need you to be feeling mercy and grace. I need you to be, you know, on your feelings. If you say you pissed off, I need you to say that. I need you to say I'm mad. Even if it don't make sense. I'm mad because this. I need you to say that. I don't like the way I feel. Learning how to get that out so you don't be acting out and it's not piled up on top of you. This happened to me. I don't like that this happened to me, and I often think about this, and it impacts me now. And then naming how you feel. I'm angry. I'm pissed off. I want to hurt somebody. I need to hear you say it. You need to say it because you need to learn how to use your mouth to heal yourself. You using your mouth the wrong way. You want to tell other people our stuff, the people that ain't really gonna hold space for us and really provide an environment with no judgment and allow us to really say the things we want to say without any judgment. Just be. You're telling the wrong folks stuff. Okay, you're not in the right place where you should be opening your mouth to heal. Okay. And so I want you opening your mouth, never upgraded or downgraded. I don't know what is happening. The only thing I could say is log back out and log back in. I don't even see you on here. Let me go and see you on here. I don't even see you on here. I don't even see you on here. I don't see you anywhere on this list. I'm looking at all the people. I don't know what you're under over there, But I am looking at everyone that's in the know thyself tier on here, and I don't see you. I don't know what your name is on here, but I don't see it on here. Okay? I don't know what to say about that. Okay? I'm looking on this thing. I see, I don't want to call out because it's private, but I'm seeing on here. I don't see that. And if you were in here, are you sure you're on the know thyself tier? I don't know. Never upgrade. I don't see you there. What's your email address? What would be your email address? Because if I get your email address, it should be coming up. And the only thing I have the ability to do, I can see what membership you are, how long you've been a member, um, things like that. So I can see when you downgrade, I can see when you upgrade. Queen K. Okay, so your name is right here on the front. Let me see. Uh-oh. Stop that. Okay, so you just came in on the 20th. That's what it's saying. You just got your membership on the 20th. That's what it's saying. So what I would do, I don't know nobody had that problem. I would log out and see if they're gonna shift something. Or let me see what can I do? What else can I do on this end? Stop it. Yeah, this happened on the 20th. I don't know why it would be locked. I would log out and log back in. That's the only thing I've told people, and then they have better results when they do that. I don't know if you're using the app. Somebody was on the app the other day, and they said that app was kind of acting crazy. So I don't know if you're using the app or not, because I can't see what's on the other side. But I do see you in there. I don't see you blocked or anything like that. I'm not seeing anything like that over here. I do see that you're a new member. You just joined on the 20th. So I would log out and log back in. Uh, yeah, I would log out and log back in if you're on the app. Uh, because somebody said it was on the app and it was kind of acting, crazy. So, and they were going through the app store. I don't know what's going on with the app, but I would uh, uninstall it, reinstall it, log back in, or go directly to the website, Patreon website, and log in that way. I don't know why it's doing that. It's showing you here, so you should have access to everything. It's either something going on with the app. I don't know if you need to log in or log back out. If there is, I'm trying to see if there's a help desk on my side where I can do something, but I'm gonna look to that a little later. Okay, I'm gonna look into that. I don't think it's much I can do on my side, but I know that people that have logged in, logged back out. On the 20th. And okay, I would try it. I know some people who have logged out, logged back in, or uninstalled the app because I had a young lady like that the other day. And then she had to do something with the app because I said, I can't see over there, sweetie, so I can't tell you what to do. I don't know how it looks over there, what you're looking at, so I can't advise you. I can't see. But I do know this, and that. So I don't know if they have a help desk over there or not. But I know I'm kind of restricted in how I can help you because we're on their platform. And the only thing I can do is see membership, see if it's blocked, see if you upgraded and downgraded. I can message you, but it's not a lot I can fix like manually over there to fix that. I wish I could, but I don't have that kind of access. So you'll probably have to call help desk or try those troubleshootings that I just provided for you if that helps. Okay, but it is a spot there. We're not hiding nothing from you. It's there. It ain't nowhere. Just got to get in there. Okay, they have help desk. They should have some type of help desk there. Let me see. It should be some kind of help desk there somewhere on that platform if you constantly have problems. But I would log out and log back in, or delete the app and then put it back on there. You know, but I have no way of knowing what's on there. I had a hard time on my computer, but then used the phone and the what it say, and it worked for me to sign up. So California Forever 444 said she had a hard time getting in there, but she had to go to her phone to sign up. Okay, Miss Penny, I would try to log in and out, and yes, it had me to install the app. Okay, so I don't know. You guys can't see it because I'm using a laptop. I go directly in, so I don't use the app. I'm really always on the laptop on the website. I'm always on the website looking through y'all comments, seeing what y'all talking about if y'all need me. So I'm always there. So I don't have the app. I'm always directly on the website. So I don't know how the app looks. Maybe I need to look more into that. Okay. All right. So if that's something that you're interested in, get over there. Sorry you're having that problems. God is 314. Apologize. Wish I could fix it, but I'm sure it's gonna work its way out. I've seen other people that have a little glitch like that, and then later they start getting all the information. But it's not going anywhere. It's there, and you are there. And I'm not. You're not blocked on our end. Okay. All right, you guys. So you know where to find me if you need me. And we've already covered the Remember Dead. And so when we come back here, we'll be going over some more juicy things, whatever the ancestors put on me to talk about. If you have something specific you want me to talk about, uh, you know, put it in the comments, DM me, and I will talk about that subject. I don't know what you want me to talk about or what I know about until you ask me, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I know about that. Oh, yeah, this would be an interesting topic. Let's dive into that. Okay. I had a hard time. Okay. I already read that. All right, you guys. Love you guys. And keep me posted. Kira, keep me posted about that. And let me know. And keep me in the loop. Because if not, then I have to contact help this too. Okay. Because I want you to have access to it. I'm not keeping you away from it. I promise. Okay. It's all there. It's not going anywhere. You're so welcome, California 444. And again, if you have any subject you want me to talk about regarding, spirituality, metaphysics, hoodoo, put it in, DM me, let me know. We can come here and have a discussion. I don't mind. I like doing stuff like that. Okay. Love you guys. You guys take care.